Ramree Island on the literary stage of the world. Ramree Island is the biggest island in Myanmar with a width of 1,350 square kilometers, which is nearly two-fold of the size of the Republic of Singapore. With a wealth of natural resources like natural gas and petroleum nowadays, it is also now known for Shui Gas project at Chao Phrue at the northwestern part of the island, for which they have a lot of complaints arising from local people. This island is also famous for the Ramree Island battle during the Second World War between the Japanese army and the Allied troops in 1945. It has been even more vivid in the minds of the people all over the world for most number of fatalities in a crocodile attack as recorded in the Guinness Book of Records. While the Japanese army were retreating into the jungle, nearly 1,000 Japanese soldiers were killed by saltwater crocodiles there. This fateful event has inspired several writers all over the world for decades. As a result, they wrote novels and novelettes on these scenes. Some of them are as follows. 1. Dragon of the Mangroves by Yasuyuki Kasai. 2. Meat by Lee Lafayette. 3. Sunset on Ramree by Robert Eberton. 4. The Mangroves by John L. Campbell. They are popular books among the world readers, especially Sunset on Ramree by Robert Eberton, which won Epic Award in 2011. Out of the 4 books, the first one, Dragon of the Mangroves, was written by a Japanese writer. The second and third books are novelettes, while the other 2 are novels. Recently, I heard a good piece of news concerning the Ramree Island. A famous Hollywood film company named Ericsson Productions will come to Ramree Island and make a film about the Guinness recorded crocodile attack on the Japanese soldiers and the Ramree Island battle, according to a piece of news on Yi Myanmar Journal dated 26 March 2015. The title of the movie will be Into the Quagmire. No doubt, it will be a good movie. Ramree Island is a beautiful island. It is expected that its beautiful spots will also be seen along with some exciting plots in the forthcoming movie. My analysis on the novel Dragon of the Mangroves. The whole story captivates the readers from the beginning to the end. It is a good story. The story is written as if it were depicted on the movie screen, with a series of events relating to the saving team at one time and to the troops retreating from Mont Blanc at another. And the depiction of the characters, Tomita is depicted as a real leader-like leader who is worthy of respect, emulation, and imitation. While it is absolutely vivid and illustrating Second Lieutenant Geno, who is not like a leader but a selfish ego. A surprising point is that Sumi, who has been described as a coward throughout the story, determined to stay behind alone in order to save the survivors of the sick platoon. It can be the moment when the readers are taken aback. Kasuga, the main character, has been described as a young soldier who is courageous and respectful towards the superiors. Near the end of the novel, a lovely piece of writing is found in that Sumi, while taking a rest and gazing at the diamond bud at the top of the pagoda at the head of Ranthagri village, was wondering whether it is the antenna that brings people's prayers to the celestial abodes. There are many other enchanting expressions in the novel. It is also so poetic in that the bad omen of the end of Sumi's life journey has been portrayed with the sign of vultures speeding down from the sky. In the novel, there are 2 mistakes that I have come across. The first mistake is on page 18, where the description of Chao Phrue and other towns on Ramree is not true as far as I have studied. The reason is that, apart from Chao Phrue on the northern tip of Ramree Island, the only other town on the island is Ramree on its northeastern part. Only in 2015 was Sanay village promoted to Sanay town. However, it is said that the town still needs much to be regarded as a true town. The second mistake is on page 57 of the book. where it is written that the sacred ash of the Lord Buddha is enshrined in the Buddhist pagodas and temples. Reasonably knowledgeable a Buddhist may have known that the sacred relics of the Buddha were shaped not into ashes like ordinary people, but into small balls after the combustion of his holy body. Yasuyuki Kasai, the novelist, seemed to have written about this fact without doing rigorous research on it. He may have thought that his background knowledge in Japanese culture is true for this fact as well. Apart from these two factual mistakes, I believe that the other parts are excellent. The novelist Yasuyuki Kasai cited 40 sources for writing this novel. The books he cited include those written by Japanese authors and the records of the Allied who won over the Japanese. Hence, his presentation seemed to be unprejudiced and beautiful. As he has mentioned in the foreword of his novel, the names of the places on Ramri Island are the real ones that have long existed there. The other incidents and characters are merely imaginary. According to the records of the Allied, approximately 20 out of 1,000 Japanese soldiers who penetrated through the encirclement of the Allied forces were regarded as alive, while the rest were killed and devoured by saltwater crocodiles of the mangroves. Yet, the Japanese records say that some 400 Japanese soldiers could arrive safely back to Japan. The novelist asserts that the records of the Allied could not be fake as well. However, he seems to take the Japanese perspectives as true in his novel. There is also another striking point. It may be heard or read that Japanese soldiers committed brutalities towards Myanmar people. However, Yasuyuki Kasai did not mention any of such inhuman things in his novel. He described the Japanese soldiers as those who treated Myanmar people equally and who were adorable. It may be not because the writer himself had not known such brutalities. In the end, one may say that as Japanese, no wonder he depicted how good, brilliant, and admirable his Japanese soldiers were. My analysis on their novelette, Meat. Lee Lafayette, the novelist, can be called a writer who writes well. However, and come to analyze that the readers may be discouraged to read on by some of his off-topic points, some illogical incidents, obscure description of some places, and general presentation of some events in his novelette. One of the strengths of the novelette seems to be that it could expose to some extent the intense training that the Japanese soldiers went through and the perils that they experienced during the war. Yet, it is not logical that the main character Akira, despite being bitten by a crocodile, drifted downstream and was stranded unconscious on a bank nearby, while the other Japanese soldiers who were bitten by crocodiles did not stand a chance to survive. It is sure that most readers may wonder how those saltwater crocodiles on Ramri Island that suddenly snatched and devoured those alive and kicking spare Akira out of pity. Further, it is also illogical that Akira, who had been bitten and mysteriously sent ashore unconscious, was saved by Balut's family and given medical treatment for his 1 week survival before his death. In the end, I came to think soothingly that the novelist's imagination is by border, since it is merely a fictional work, and that he could create it despite others' thoughts about its illogical points. The viewpoint of a reader who reviewed this book on Amazon.com goes thus: it is sure that there will be several other novels based on the historic crocodile attack on Ramri Island that are much better than this. This novel is off-topic in some points and is not very attractive. The peculiar things are that only the names Myanmar and Myanmar people are found in the book, and that the name Ramri Island, where the main incident really took place, was not mentioned in it, but described merely as an obscure island. No references for the background settings are found in the book. However, since many historical documents are testimony to the fact that the island on which the incident happened was Ramri Island, it is crystal clear about the fact. Anyway, it is evident that the novelette Meat, written by the American writer Lee Lafayette, has taken place on the literary stage of the world as a novelette which is based on Ramri Island crocodile attack, listed in the Guinness Book of Records.